Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry to say I'm not surprised that we're here in the death throes of a Democratic majority, which continues to be obsessed with the former president. Both of these bills are a complete waste of this committee's time, in my view. S. 1942 is a bill that the Senate passed by unanimous consent and will likely pass with broad bipartisan support, and H.R. 9640 will never become law. I'm a co-sponsor of the House-related measure to S. 1942, and while I look forward to supporting this measure on the floor, I also look forward to hearing from our witnesses today on this important matter. Our second item is H.R. 9640, the Presidential Tax Filing and Audit Transparency Act of 2022. As I understand this measure, this bill would require the IRS to examine and make public reports on income tax returns filed by presidents of the United States, along with those of any trusts or companies controlled by that individual or his or her spouse. It also requires the IRS to make public all presidential income tax returns. I say, as I understand, because frankly, Mr. Chairman, there hasn't been any time at all to understand what's going on here. To say this process is bad is an understatement. This process stinks. The ink isn't even dry on this bill, which was introduced just today. No markup has been held, no discussion, no nothing. And once again, the majority is rushing a bill drafted behind closed doors straight to the Rules Committee without even pretending to go through regular order. What's worse, I'm told by my colleagues on the Ways and Means Committee that during the executive session yesterday that was intended to review the tax returns of a former president, Republican members of the committee were told that this bill was just a discussion draft that would be attached to the committee report. Further, they were told that they could not offer amendments to it until the majority changed their minds in the last 10 minutes of the executive session, giving no Republican members the opportunity to amend this bill. Such a bait and switch is beyond the pale and not befitting the dignity of the House of Representatives. What's more, they're doing all of this on a deeply sensitive topic. Tax returns are inherently sensitive documents that contain personal information. Requiring the IRS to publicly disclose someone's tax returns, even those of the President of the United States, is a very dangerous road to go down, one that deserves better and longer consideration than what we're doing here today. Of course, we all know why the majority is pushing this bill at the last minute. It's an attempt to score political points off of the refusal of a former president to disclose his tax returns, as he had the right to do. It's also an attempt to provide a fig leaf of justification for their long, quixotic process of trying to get those same returns from the IRS, which requires them to have a legitimate legislative purpose for doing so. It is frankly a sad attempt at justifying the long obsession on this matter. This is clearly not what we should be doing today, Mr. Chairman, not with the government funding expiring on Friday, not with an ongoing crisis at the southern border, not with inflation crushing American workers, and not with Russia and China's ongoing push to dominate the Eastern Hemisphere. We can and should do better. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Well,